Indeed, it's Wrestling Uncensored time. Ric Flair debuts in AEW. TNA is TNA again, and WWE's going to Germany. Indeed. Where's Johnny? There he is. What up?
I'm liking our commercials. I don't know about you, but I feel like commercials are really top notch now.
It was a very good commercial. Whoever that guy was in the cool Yankees jersey in that commercial is really good at doing commercials.
Well, I like the AI Wally. That was pretty good too.
Was that Wally?
And it sounded like Wally, didn't it?
It did. It did sound like Wally. Interesting. We are here. We are live. Shout out to everybody tuning in live right now on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on all the things. Shout out Angelo Contagonis, member of the team, over at join.ringsidereport.net. You can support. Go to merch.ringsidereport.net. Get some Johnny North merch for yourself.
Some cool new t-shirts there, yeah.
Yeah, some nice Johnny North t-shirts. Johnny North, you requested us. You requested we make one of those shirts. You requested the graphic. And boom, we deliver. Tremendous. Tremendous new gear for Johnny North. Looking great. Do you have one yet? We should get you one. Do you have one?
I'd like one. That'd be nice. Yeah.
You haven't ordered one for yourself? What are you doing? What are you waiting for?
Well, I was hoping maybe Ringside Report would order one for me, but
I see. I see what's going on here. Well, we'll see what we can do, Johnny North. We'll see what we can do. I want one too.
I'd like a black one.
Black.
Yeah.
XL.
I mean, the orange one's okay, but I think the black shirts are better.
I like orange, brother. I could go with orange. It's Halloween season. You know, the busy Halloween season. You got to get all your shopping done before the big day, before Halloween. Right? That's what this
humbug.
Is. Yeah. I don't know why you don't like Halloween. I don't know what's going on with you. You don't like Halloween?
I mean, it's not really a holiday, is it? I mean, it's just kids going around getting candy. That's not a holiday. Still have to go to school, don't they?
Don't forget about the costumes. Don't forget about the spooky vibes. There's a lot that is more than just candy, John. All right? You're forgetting about the spirit of Halloween. It's not just about the candy. Okay?
I'll take you back to 2004. I don't remember this, but I dressed up in my gear in 2004 at Dawson.
Don't remember this.
Remember that?
No.
Now, this is before I wore bobettes, thankfully, because that would have been kind of interesting.
Bobettes? But, you mean the little trunks, the little wrestling underwears?
Well, the gear that you saw me in last time I wrestled.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I wrestled at a hotel recently, the Sherrington in Laval, and they had like the locker room downstairs in a basement, and the wrestling ring was in like a reception hall. So I had to, in my gear, go all the way from the basement, top floor, through the reception hall, walk right through a bunch of people, just people checking in, whatever, into the wrestling show. Just like that. A lot of people seemed offended, but oh well.
You see a big, oiled up muscle man walking around in his underwear in a hotel lobby, you might be a little shocked. Yeah.
I think they may have been, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one stopped me, though. No one tried to. That was fun.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I wouldn't either. I'd be like, yeah, he's obviously got somewhere to be. He's going somewhere. We got some wrestling to talk about here on the program. The Nature Boy Ric Flair making some news, showing up in AEW for the Stinger, which I think is the story of the week. There's some other stuff going on in wrestling. WWE going to Germany for a show. They announced that this week. Bash in Berlin. Yeah. August 31st, 2024 in Berlin, Germany.
So this is to make up for their clash at the castle, I guess. This is their new international show, I guess.
I think they're just doing international shows, right? They're just continuing to do shows outside of the U.S. They did Money in the Bank in London. It's just another show in Europe, right? I don't know. I mean, it's good for the people of Germany who never get big shows. Good for them.
Well, it'll be the week after All In at Wembley.
Oh. That's interesting.
Well, I think Wembley will
not the same place. I mean, it's different, but... Yeah. And they're not doing a stadium either. It's an arena, right? So
I think it's only max capacity is only like 17,000. So they're probably only going to have like 12 probably because of the whole setup with everything. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bash in Berlin. Does that excite you?
It's always interesting to see WWE go to different places for premium live events. I always found like this year, when you see like international events, they've been the best events we've had, I find, for premium live events. Backlash, Elimination Chamber this year, even Money in the Bank. I think they were some of the better pay-per-views.
Elimination Chamber was pretty good.
Biased, but yes.
Yeah, we were there too. It was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
That'll be tough at the end of the year, right? We're getting to the kind of year-end stuff. Like, what's your pay-per-view of the year? What's your match of the year? That type of thing. I'd say pay-per-view of the year for me was Elimination Chamber, but am I just biased because I was there? It was good.
You might want to take that one out because, you were there, so it takes it away a bit. The one that you weren't there for, what was the best? It might be harder.
For WWE, like, they didn't have a very strong year. Pay-per-view wise,
I thought WrestleMania was solid.
Yeah, I'd say you probably have to go with WrestleMania as their best show of the year, as it should be. But everything else, like since Mania,
I thought Money in the Bank was good. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay. Fine.
I can't recall. I mean, I don't really... it's not memorable to me. I feel like AEW, despite all their faults, still delivers better pay-per-views. Like, they're longer and they're harder to sit through in a lot of ways, but I feel like the match quality is higher. They're giving you more wrestling stuff. WWE is more of a show. It's more entertainment. Like, take Roman Reigns, for example. He's very much a show wrestler. He's very much a story-based wrestler where he's not doing too many intricate spots or moves. He's mostly, telling a story in the match, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And we've seen it not work, Whereas AEW, it's a little bit more hard-hitting. It's a bit more physically demanding. I prefer it. I feel like they've done very well this year.
Well, I think they both had their moments. I think it's unfair to say that Roman always has like moments that don't really work out too well. I would argue
sometimes they work.
Oh, well, definitely. I would argue Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, that might be a match of the year candidate right there.
Mm-hmm. But what was it? Roman Reigns, and was it the tag match that was terrible?
No, I think it was SummerSlam that you didn't like.
SummerSlam wasn't great either. Roman and
Jay.
Yeah. No one liked that.
Yeah.
I wasn't the only one not liking that match. Everybody was like, ugh. And that was the moment where people were like, I think the Bloodline thing has jumped the shark. And I maintain that ever since they lost Sami Zayn, it hasn't quite been the same. And there's a lack of logic in a lot of it. that's what's kind of lost me is the logical hole that they fell into where Jimmy Uso, he stops Jey Uso from winning the title to stop him from being like Roman Reigns because he hates Roman Reigns. Then Jey Uso quits SmackDown, and then a couple weeks later, Jimmy Uso's like, I want to be back in the bloodline. I love Roman Reigns. I'm falling back in line for no reason in particular. I just, it stopped making sense. It's been a nice kind of story, and then all of a sudden, it's like the whole, Jey Uso's on Raw, and Jimmy is back with the bloodline.
They
I don't
could have
like
done a
it as
better
much.
job explaining that.
Huh?
Oh, I won't disagree. They could have explained that better.
Yeah.
But I do like the dynamic. I thought that was one of the best segments we saw tonight was the whole Jimmy and Roman when Jimmy's on the couch there. I thought that I'm loving the interactions between Roman and Jimmy right now. I feel that's one of the best things they have right now on SmackDown.
Yeet.
Just Jimmy, the way he's like, one moment he's like, oh, I'm injured. I can't do anything. Roman gives him a look. Oh, I'm not injured. Of course I'm going to wrestle him tonight.
Yeah.
Just right away. Beautiful.
It's
well
good.
done.
Roman and Jimmy are good together. I'm not saying Roman is bad. Like, don't get me wrong. He's very good. I just think that it was the whole gimmick, the whole bloodline thing was better when Sammy was part of it. It was more captivating. Like,
right.
It was really good back then. And now it's like, it's all right. But it's kind of like, it feels like it's lost a step. It feels like it's nearing the end. It's like, how much longer does this go on for? And that brings us to LA Knight. Yeah.
It's a great way to start SmackDown, I thought. It was the best way to start SmackDown.
So good. So good. Opening segment of SmackDown tonight was fantastic. Roman Reigns comes out, starts doing the entrance, poses, and then all of a sudden, LA Knight bursts through, does his entrance. He's introduced first for the contract signing. It just totally stopped the regular flow of the show. It was like an interruption. It felt different. No one does that to Roman Reigns. And LA Knight, the way he was treating him, the way he was disrespecting Roman Reigns, no one does that to Roman Reigns. They had a contract signing in the ring. LA Knight grabs the chair, puts himself at the head of the table. Heyman tries to grab the table and move it, and LA Knight stops him. He's like, you're not moving that table. Just disrespecting the tribal chief. It was fantastic stuff. It shows that LA Knight is defiant. It shows that LA Knight is not afraid of Roman Reigns, and he's coming right for him. And the contract signing was really good. The promo was really good between Roman and LA. The crowd was into it all the way. LA Knight has them eating out of the palm of his hand, chanting Roman scared at Roman Reigns, They were really into LA Knight. And then LA Knight says, I'm the head of the table, Roman. Acknowledge me. LA Knight getting in Roman's head. Roman doesn't like it. And I love the way Roman sells the fans getting behind LA Knight. He's like he can't believe it, Because he knows this guy is a threat and he doesn't like it and he doesn't understand where it's coming from, and you could read it all in his face. It's excellent. He's really good in these moments. And he's really selling LA Knight very well. He's making LA Knight look great based on the way that he's reacting to him. Reminds me a lot of Cousin Dwayne, right? The Rock. The way he would react to people made them so much more impactful and intimidating. Like when The Rock, I'm going to take you back, when The Rock looks at his beeper, this is how old we are, John, and he looks at the beeper and it says 316, you remember his face in that moment. You know what I mean?
I remember that.
How many times in wrestling do you remember a guy's face in a moment? But The Rock, like, sold it like his eyes jumped out of his head, like you could see in his face, like, oh my God, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's coming to get me, and he was petrified of Steve Austin. He made Steve Austin look more intimidating, and he sold that he was deathly afraid of Austin, and Austin was a threat. And Roman Reigns did that very, very well tonight. Is LA Knight Steve Austin to Roman Reigns' Rock character, though? Is he on the level of Roman Reigns? Does he have a shot in hell of taking the championship from him next week? I think most people would say no. But
I'd say no.
Yeah. I kind of want it to happen, though. I like LA Knight so much. It would be fun if it happened. And again, we talked about it a bit last week, but how long does the championship reign need to be? Do they really need to have him be champion forever? 1,000 days, 2,000 days, whatever the hell they want to do, break all the records, San Martino, Hogan, whatever. Is it necessary? Is it going to make Roman Reigns more over? More unstoppable? If he holds the belt for another year? Does he need to be champion to face The Rock at WrestleMania? Is The Rock at WrestleMania even on the table? Like, there's a lot of questions right now. And I'm wondering, LA Knight is so hot, and he's very good, and they're showing him in the ring. They're giving him the microphone. They're giving him matches. And I don't think he's been exposed in any kind of way. When LA Knight is on the screen, I'm paying close attention. How good is he? Is he the real deal? And as far as I can tell, he is. He's as legit as they come. The only knock against him is that I think he's like 40 years old. Right? I don't know how old he is exactly. He's, let me tell you, I think he's 40.
I think you're right.
He is 40.
Yeah, I think he's 40.
So he's been around the wrestling business for a long time. He's 40 years old. So do you want to give the Roman Reigns win to a guy that's 40 years old? And I think that's a big question. I think if LA Knight were 35 years old, they'd probably make him champion at Crown Jewel. Because he's so over. Why not? But because he's 40, they might be thinking, well, how much do we really get out of him? Because whoever you give the title to next, after Roman, you better be damn sure they're going to be a major star for your company for the next 5 to 10 years. At least. Is LA Knight that guy? I think he could go another good 5 years. Maybe 10. Depending on injuries and a schedule and, Getting a good question there from Wool and Metal. Can WWE really invest in such a guy, even if he's really good? He is 40. I don't know. But I would love to see this guy get the shot because he's a lot of fun, and he's, like I said, he's on fire right now. Everybody likes him. Everybody. Who knows how far they can go with this guy? I think he hasn't reached the ceiling of how over and how powerful a character he could be in wrestling. And I think there's a chance that he could be a bigger star than even Roman. Because,
interesting.
Has Roman ever been this over? It's crazy, the reactions he's getting right now. Has he been, universally loved and respected the way LA Knight is right now? Like, I just wonder, if they strap the Rocket to LA Knight, how far could they push him? How far could he go? Could he surpass what Roman Reigns has been for the WWE? Are we looking for the next Rock or Stone Cold, or are we just looking for the next Roman Reigns? Because if you're looking for the next Rock or Stone Cold, sincerely, then maybe you give LA Knight a shot. If you're looking for the next Roman Reigns, then, give Austin Theory the belt in 3 years. Or Solo Sikoa, or, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't mind seeing LA Knight win.
But you don't believe that's going to happen, of course.
No. But I don't know. There's a small part of me that wants to believe it, right?
Right. Of course, you want it.
Yeah.
But you don't
I
believe
do want it.
You wouldn't bet on it.
No. He's the first guy in a long time where I've seen him up against Roman and I go, I want him to win. I really want him to win,
Okay. It's good.
Because I think Roman has been a great champion and he's dominated and everything and he's done well. But I don't know. There's something about LA Knight,
Well, I definitely could see him be a champion in WWE one day. I think it's definitely going to happen. It's just the Undisputed Championship. I feel like he's just going to add on to Roman's legacy that they're kind of building up right now. If anything, this might be a great showcase to show what he could do in the future as possibly the man on Raw. Like, I could easily see him be the champion of Raw, being the world champion there. I think he'd be much suited there compared to SmackDown, where, like you said, because of his age, they wouldn't give that to him off Roman, but to beat whoever the world heavyweight champion is when he goes to Raw, I could see him easily run that show.
Yep. He's not on Raw, though. He has the match with Roman next week.
Yeah.
And if he loses, where does that leave him? I don't know. And like, if it's not LA Knight, right? If LA Knight is not the guy to beat Roman Reigns, who is?
I mean, they only have Cody when you think about it.
Right.
The rematch.
Which seems a little obvious.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's the better choice, is the obvious pick. Unless you want to
lose to him 1 year. I mean, then you beat him the next year, and then what? You have a rematch the third year?
Yeah, I know. That's not that great.
Yeah.
But it could be Seth, though, too. I could easily see it be Seth.
Yeah. Though, if Cody beats him at Mania next year, then they're going to do a trilogy of Manias. They'll do it again. You know it. I don't need that. I like LA Knight to win the title. Give it to LA Knight. I don't think it has to be Cody. He could win it one day. It doesn't have to be now. It doesn't have to be next year's WrestleMania. I'd rather Cody be the Raw champion. Raw needs a more interesting champion. Seth as champion has been pretty boring. What's he done? And now he's wrestling Drew McIntyre? That whole feud has been like a nothing for me. I don't really care to see any of that.
Yeah, it wasn't great this week on Raw between Drew and Seth, but
nah,
they don't really have much to go on, unfortunately. And they're just trying to add Rhea in there as well. Like, it feels like there's way too much Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I know some people are fans of Judgment Day, but it was overkill this week, I thought, on Raw.
Like, Rhea Ripley is trying to enlist Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins in the Judgment Day? She's like, you need our help. And Seth is like, I don't need your help. So then she goes and she helps Drew McIntyre beat Sammy on Raw this week. Distracted Sammy. And then Drew hit him with a Claymore. Poor Sammy. TK saying, what about Sammy? I mean, I don't know. What about Sammy? I think he could be the Raw champion one day. I'd like to see it. I think he'd be a good Raw champion.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. You know?
It would help to go back to Montreal to help build his momentum again, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I could see it happen.
But yeah. Portier Concierge says, you are right, Dave. Seth is boring. Yeah, I'm not super entertained by his World Championship run. And even Rhea Ripley in the promo on Raw that she was talking to Seth, she's like, you're the world champion. You're a champion right now, but with our help, you could be the champion. Like, even in the story, it's acknowledged that, like, Roman is, like, the real champion, and you're just, like, a guy with a belt. Like, even Rhea Ripley knows, like, your belt isn't meaningless. That was weird, right? Just to say that on the show, I was like, I guess we're really not trying to put them on the same level. It's odd.
Well, I think they really wanted Seth to put in that line where he's like, oh, he's nothing like Roman. So that way it's like, oh, the way he looks at it, he's a different level. He's his own champion and, like, he's actually there all the time. So he's nothing like Roman Reigns. So as long as he got that line in there, I think it was okay to say that.
Yeah, it was odd, though. I agree with Portier. He says Cody for Raw champion. I think that would be good, too.
I mean, he's got a singles match now at Crown Jewel. So, I mean, what are we building towards?
He's wrestling Damian Priest. And he's hurt going into the match because they attacked his leg on Raw. They, like, put a chair around his leg, then they hit the chair with another chair, and his leg was all hurt. So he's going to sell an injury because Damian Priest and Cody on pay-per-view is like, huh? But, because you figure, well, Cody will just win. But then Cody's injured going into the match, so maybe he won't win. But, of course, he will, because if he doesn't, like, what? Trying to add a little wrinkle to the story of the match, but really, it's a nothing match for Cody. And Damian Priest is holding on to that Money in the Bank for so long, he's never going to be champion.
Well, he's still the Undisputed Tag Team Champion, so it's not like he's got nothing going on for him. He's got a lot going on for him, but
yeah,
it's not a great match, though. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like, they just being for the tag team titles and we get a singles match at the next big event? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Nope. Shout out Jason Pete watching us on Twitch tonight. Angelo Contagonis, my main man, he says, we all know LA Knight ain't winning next week. Yeah, I think you might be right. But I've got hope for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because I really like LA Knight. My son really likes LA Knight. My daughter even likes LA Knight. Whole family likes LA Knight. Yeah.
I'm guessing she makes noises around him, I guess, because...
Yeah. She goes, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Well, that's
she's talking a little bit
it's
now.
fun to get behind.
Yeah, she's getting...
well, that's good.
She's joining in on the conversation. Yeah. My son goes, SAWFT. She goes, what? She gets the, she can't quite make the noises, but the sound, the intonation she gets, right? She knows what's going on. All right, what are we talking about? I got distracted by my children. So Roman Reigns versus LA Knight next week for the WWE Universal Undisputed All the Belts thing. It's at Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns called him an idiot for signing the contract without looking it over. Does that mean that Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman have some sort of loophole in the contract? Will this be some sort of no disqualification match, perhaps, so that Jimmy Uso can interfere freely?
Maybe, yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I don't think Roman said that for no reason, you know? I think they slipped
Well,
something
I think
in.
it's more that he did it fast, It's like, oh, this is your first time. You don't know what you're doing kind of thing, It's kind of put him down for that. So then LA can come back and bash him for the fact that he's been doing this for so long. It took him so long to actually get good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I just want LA Knight to win. LA Knight put Jimmy through a table at the end of the opening segment, which was fun.
I loved how Roman pushed the table like completely on LA Knight.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. I've never seen that before.
He pushed the table on him, and then the table fell out of the ring. I think that maybe the table wasn't supposed to fall out of the ring because he then...
Not like that.
Because like the table flew out of the ring, and then he went out of the ring to like retrieve the table, but the table was broken, like the leg of it was broken. Yeah. So then he went under the ring, Roman did, to get another table, and he seemed to struggle quite a bit putting the table in the ring. Did you notice that? He was like having trouble like figuring out how to do it. Maybe he doesn't do it very often, or I don't know. Did you notice him having trouble with the table?
I noticed.
He's the head of the table. You figure he'd know how to, put one in the ring.
Did you notice he cut his finger?
Yeah.
So I think that may have happened or something. He may have injured himself by pulling the table out, I think. Yeah.
Weird. Elsewhere on SmackDown tonight, Street Profits beat Carlito and Santos Escobar after Santos got distracted by the big screen, which was showing Rey Mysterio getting attacked by Logan Paul backstage. Nice to see Carlito wrestling on SmackDown. That was fun. He did a dive. You see his dive? That was good.
I thought Carlito was good, but it's like it's his first match and they don't go over. That's never a good sign. I don't like that.
He didn't take the fall though. Santos did.
Right. Yeah, but what kind of sense does it make that, the match is ongoing? Yeah, Rey's getting beat up backstage, but you just abandon the match, one guy, and leave yourself in a handicap situation?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to abandon it, all abandon it. Like, just all give up because it's a lost cause at that point.
Right. Or
finish the match quickly because you're clearly winning. If you can look and stare at the screen and do whatever you want, and then finish up, but like try to do both at the same time. Like, that was just dumb.
Yeah, Carlito left, right, to go help Rey, but it was too late.
Well, Santos told him to leave.
Yeah.
Like, that was Santos's call, but it's like, that was dumb.
Didn't work. Logan Paul was backstage being interviewed about punching Rey Mysterio, and then he walks away from the interview, and he sees Kevin Owens and kind of has a stare down with him, and Kevin is wearing a Rey Mysterio shirt, and Logan said something like nice shirt or something. But that match, I feel like, is happening next. I think Logan Paul will win the U.S. title from Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel, and Kevin Owens will take it from Logan Paul. Yeah?
Yeah, I could see that happen. Sure. But I think that'd be good. Know about right away, though.
Kevin needs something. He needs something, A match with Logan Paul is something.
But honestly, to me, that's like WrestleMania. I'd wait for that, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens. I know that's a long ways away, but...
Long way.
But I expect if they give Logan Paul the title, he's going to have a decent reign, I think.
It's a long title reign, though, from now till WrestleMania. How about the Rumble?
I can see it happen.
Rumble's enough, I think. Or Elimination Chamber in wherever? Australia?
It is in Australia, yeah.
Right. But I think Logan Paul, Kevin Owens is going to be up next. I really think Logan Paul is a lock to beat Rey next week for the U.S. title at Crown Jewel. What'd you think of the John Cena promo tonight? I thought it was pretty good. I'm sure you hated it. Cena talking about, maybe retiring and fans chanting, "You still got it," and then he looked at him like, "What if I don't? What if I don't still got it?" And then he's like, I have to win. I must beat Solo Sikoa. And then Paul Heyman came out and showed him respect and talked about how great Cena is. And he thanked Cena for the house and for the past 21 years of selling out buildings and propping up the wrestling business on his massive shoulders. It was a nice promo from Heyman, too. I enjoyed this. You didn't like this? What's the matter, John?
I thought Heyman was fantastic. Heyman saved this promo. But the Cena stuff, like, this story doesn't make any sense. Like, the whole thing started where Cena's like, oh, I haven't wrestled on TV in like 2,000 days. You know, do I still have it kind of thing? And now he finally gets a match, but it's on a premium live event. So he still doesn't get that whole over 2,000 day thing. And then he's going like, oh, do I still have it? Win or lose, whatever. When does it ever matter if he wins or loses? Like, he's had matches, he wins. Sometimes he loses. Like, this is the match where it's like, oh, do I have it or not now? Like, I don't get why now this is the time, especially in a place where he didn't even want to wrestle before. He loved it and then took himself off the shows and you couldn't see him in Saudi Arabia anymore. But now he's back again, of course. Heyman saved it because Heyman, you know, put him over in the sense that, you know, he was the guy, like, in 2004, like, he needed somebody, and Cena was the guy that stepped up when they needed somebody. That was the best thing that he ever did, really, was that 2004, 2005. The problem was it lasted 20 more years, like, and we didn't need that. It lasted too long.
All right. Well, that's your opinion, John. I think Cena had a hell of a run. And he's going to wrestle Solo Sikoa. Solo attacked Cena at the end of the segment, hit him from behind with the Samoan spike. SmackDown finished off with LA Knight beating Jimmy Uso clean, middle of the ring, hits his finisher, 1, 2, 3, beats Jimmy. Jimmy fails his cousin Roman, couldn't deal with LA Knight tonight. Roman tried to attack. He also failed. LA Knight ducked him and hit his BFT finish on Roman Reigns, taking out the tribal chief at the end of SmackDown. Pretty good. Good match. Good finish. Decent SmackDown. Bianca Belair cut a promo. She's back. She wants revenge on Damage Control for injuring her, and she wants the women's title back from Io Sky. Maybe Crown Jewel. Bianca's going to wrestle Bayley next week on SmackDown. Did they say it's going to happen, or she said Crown Jewel, or what?
Crown Jewel is going to happen, yeah. Her and Io, that's official, I believe, now.
Okay.
And I think the whole SmackDown thing's already out already, if I'm not mistaken, for next week, because it's being taped right now. So
yeah,
pretty much what's happened on SmackDown, I think for the most part, people already know, I think. Like you said, Bianca versus Bayley, that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. I think they may have said that in a graphic too. We're having a weigh-in of Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul. I'm not sure why we're having a weigh-in, but apparently we're having that.
Yes.
And something else is happening. I can't remember exactly, but there's another big segment. I'm sure you're looking over all the details right now.
Yeah. Apparently, LA Knight's going to do a promo with Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens against Austin Theory, Charlotte Flair and Shotzi will face Chelsea and Piper Niven.
Oof. Wasn't good tonight. The crowd died on that match.
Brawling Brutes and Pretty Deadly will wrestle. Solo Sikoa and John Cena will have some sort of face-off segment. Rey and Logan Paul with a weigh-in. And then Bianca versus Bayley. And that's going to be SmackDown next week that they're recording right now in Milwaukee. Because next week, at this time, they'll be in Saudi Arabia for Crown Jewel, which is next Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be watching it, and then we'll be on right after Crown Jewel to break it all down here with you on the Ringside Report Network. You Yeah, Shotzi Chelsea Green, not your favorite match tonight, Sean?
I mean, you could hear crickets in the crowd. No one cared about that match whatsoever. Like, I wasn't the only one who didn't like that match.
Yeah.
Most people in that audience didn't care whatsoever for that match.
Why would they?
It just was not very good.
Dragon Lee beat Cedric Alexander. I thought that match was fun. Good match. Dragon beat him with the Destino finisher. That's Naito's move. Tetsuya Naito's finishing move. I didn't know Dragon Lee was using that now in WWE, but it's quite a maneuver. Stolen, but
I don't know about you. Yeah, well, I mean, what isn't stolen in wrestling these days?
That Destino seems pretty original. I've never seen anybody hit that move before Naito. The Destino, and now Dragon Lee is doing it. I mean, but I've never seen anybody do it like Naito. Naito's is the best, and I've never seen anybody do that move before Naito.
I think maybe as a tag thing, maybe someone did a variation of it.
Yeah, but
not like
person?
a single guy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, one person, no.
And the way Naito does it too, it's so nice. It's so smooth. Oh, Naito's Destino is one of the most beautiful finishers in all of wrestling. That's why I was a little surprised that Dragon Lee did it tonight. I was like, no matter how good you do it, Dragon Lee, and Dragon Lee is a hell of an athlete, but no matter how good he does it, it'll never be like Naito's. You know, it won't look as nice. It can't. It's like perfection the way Naito does it.
Do you see him hitting that move on like top stars? Like, you know, he hits on Cedric Alexander. Sure, he'll take a crazy bump for it. I don't see a lot of other guys taking crazy bumps for that move.
It's just a back bump.
Yeah, but you see how Cedric like killed himself on that one?
Yeah, but that's Cedric taking it extra. You don't have to take it crazy. Watch Jericho take it. Jericho's taking it. It's regular. You know, it just takes a back bump. It's not so bad. The guy doing it has to do way more than the guy taking it. Because you got to do like a backflip. Right? It's a backflip scorpion death drop, basically.
But it helps that the guy like kills himself, like how Cedric did it. It looked pretty good. But when you see other guys do it, and it probably doesn't look as good, the bump wise, I could see them changing it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he was just trying it out because he knew he could do it with Cedric, but it was a cool move that they cool move and a cool match to give us on SmackDown. Do you care at all about Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce's ongoing rivalry, or do you like kind of tune out when they have their little chats backstage like I do? Because that seems to be a thing. I guess maybe they're setting it up for Survivor Series. Is that what's going on? You think Raw versus SmackDown, Survivor Series, something? I feel like maybe in the background they're starting that up.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much just planting the seeds for that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, it gives them something to do. I mean, we brought back GMs for a reason, right? So use them and pit them against each other. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they said this was like a tired concept. Really, it wasn't. It was actually the best concept they've ever used, and they shouldn't have really gotten rid of it. Like, it's the best thing to have. Keep it. If you're going to have two shows that are rivaling with each other, you should have two different managers.
Yeah, I didn't like Adam Pearce running both shows for so long. I like that they have somebody else there. Brutus Magnus doing a good job. Were there piped-in boos on Raw? I know people were talking about that. Are there fake boos for Dominic Mysterio? Triple H came out, and I think he did a promo with Dominic Mysterio on SmackDown, and he commented like, hey, it's so loud in here, I thought the boos were fake. But people were saying that they were fake for Dominic and Logan this week. It's hard to tell.
Well, I think your buddy, like Sean Ross, said something about how like they're piped in or something, but
my buddy,
it didn't.
I don't know him at all.
Well,
I've seen him on the internet. That's pretty much as far as it goes. My buddy.
You quote him a lot, so I figure he's your buddy.
Well, him and the Meltzer are the two guys that break all the wrestling gossip stories. You know.
The Meltzer. That's good.
The Meltzer. He is the Meltzer. There's only anybody else named Meltzer doesn't mean anything. There's only one Meltzer.
But I think Sean Ross was one who came up with the story about how he thought they were piped in, or I mean, you could tell they're playing with the audio a bit, but I feel like they weren't playing with the crowd. They were playing with Dominic's microphone, where it's like you couldn't hear Dominic. And what they try to do is give you the perception that like the boos are so loud, but it's the fact that they pretty much turn off his microphone because there's no way that you can hear Logan through it, but you can't hear Dominic. They just turn off Dominic's mic. That's all they do.
You don't think the crowd just gets louder when Dominic starts talking?
I mean, they get louder, but not to the point where he can't talk. I think they just turn his microphone off. So then it feels like he can't talk, but he could. Like you've seen it in other places too. Like when Don Callis, that happens to him. Like they're loud, but he can still get something out. It's not so bad. But when you turn off the microphone, yeah, of course you can't say anything.
Yeah, you really can't hear Dominic. Dominic tries to talk, and it's like sometimes Dominic comes out, and I wonder if he even has a prepared promo, or if he's just supposed to go out there, try to speak, get booed, and
Well, he's not very good at talking, so I mean, it's better they have it the way it is right now.
You know who else used to get booed out of the building? Is his, mom, Vicky Guerrero.
Okay, his mom.
Well, not his mom, but he says, like, I wish Eddie was my father, Well, if you wish Eddie was your father, guess who your mother would be? Excuse me, it's Vicky Guerrero. And she got tons of heat. Like, I remember when Vicky would do those promos, she would get booed out of the building. And that was real. Like, she was yelling, excuse me, because, at first it wasn't a catchphrase. At first it was just like, I have a promo to say, and you people are booing me like crazy. Excuse me. And then it became a gimmick. Well, she was good.
Just going back to the whole Eddie and Rey story, wasn't it that Rey couldn't get it up or something, so Eddie had to step in, and that's why like Dominic was his son. That's why
Is that what Eddie said?
Whatever.
Oh my god.
That's what Eddie claimed. Yeah.
Latino heat, baby.
Eddie so Guerrero. Vicky, like even in the storyline, Vicky wasn't the mom.
Oh, okay. So Eddie had relations with Rey's wife, is what Eddie was saying.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which was not true in the end in the story. Eddie was lying because he's just a mean guy. Whatever that was, I don't think it was as bad as what Swerve did this week on Dynamite, which was just horrifying, which we could talk about as well. I was like, I thought it was too much.
To me, the worst thing.
No, the worst thing
is the fact that
too much.
What kind of like house do you have where people could just walk in and terrorize your kids? Like,
yeah.
Where's the rest of your family?
Yeah. Why are there no adults watching this baby? Didn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense, but it was just creepy. He seemed to be threatening to do violence on a baby. I was like, what is going on here? Swerve has taken things to a new level. As far as WWE, I want to jump into AEW here with Ric Flair and everything. As far as WWE goes, Natalya and Chelsea Green will wrestle in a trick or street fight set for Raw. I know we got a question earlier, who's going to take a pumpkin to the head? I think it's going to be Chelsea Green in a pumpkin
probably
on Raw, which will be nice and stupid. Seth Rollins will wrestle JD McDonuts on Raw, too. And they said, JD McDonough, he's still trying to get into Judgment Day. I'm like, they still haven't let him into Judgment Day? What does this guy have to do? How many times does he have to fight on your behalf before you just go, all right, you're in Judgment Day? Mommy won't let him in.
We're in the recruit storylines now, right? Judgment Day has recruits. Alpha Academy has recruits now. Like, everyone has recruits now. Even the Bloodline. Like, is Jimmy officially in the Bloodline again? Or is he trying to get back in still?
I think he's in. No? Is he not in?
Did Roman say he's in? I don't know if Roman said he was in.
He's in the locker room, lying down on the couch.
Yeah.
He's his cousin. I think he's in. I don't know. The Bloodline? It seems like something he would be allowed into. It seems like something he's involved in right now. As far as the other recruits go, I don't know why JD McDonough is not in the Judgment Day, and I don't understand why Tozawa is being recruited by Alpha Academy. Ugh.
I think they just like him, and they're just trying to give him a spot on the show. But it was bad.
It lowers Alpha Academy.
Thing, yeah. Well, I mean, it puts them back to where they were before.
Yeah, jobbers.
Leveling them out again.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was big on that whole Chad Gable run. Well, that's pretty much done now, because now they're just back to doing this.
It sucks because people saw how great he was, right? And then they're like, yeah, whatever. Back down the card, Chad Gable. So weird.
Well, Kofi's there too. You know, Kofi had a run. They get runs.
That's true. New Day beat Alpha Academy this week. Kofi and Woods. Nice to see them back together. I really hope they're on the house show in December, because it looks like it's going to be a Raw house show here coming to Montreal. They're advertising Cody and Seth and, Judgment Day. And I hope we get the New Day, because they're on Raw. And I like those guys.
Well, hopefully they'll just be like, special guest Kevin Owens. But that will happen too.
Yeah, in Montreal, you would hope he would be on those shows, but I don't think they're advertising him. They're advertising Sammy, because he's on Raw, but
okay.
I don't know if Kevin is advertised for those shows. I haven't seen him on the commercial, but you would guess he might make an appearance. So John Cena, Solo Sikoa official for Crown Jewel. And that's what's going on in WWE this week. As far as AEW, I feel like they have way more going on. Ric Flair debuted in AEW this week with Sting, and I think he's going to be in AEW more than just that one appearance that we saw this week. MJF is going to wrestle Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship tomorrow night on Collision. Let's start there.
Well, okay.
Oh, baby. That's fantastic. Do we see a clean finish? Or
Probably
does Bullet
not.
Club Gold, Jay White, and friends, do they interfere?
Yeah. I see that. I could see there not be a winner at all. I don't think MJF loses the title, but I definitely don't think we'll get a clean finish, or maybe even a finish, period. I think it might just end in chaos.
If we don't get a clean finish, is there any chance that we get Kenny in a triple threat at Full Gear?
Interesting. I feel they're still going to do something with Callis, because it wasn't the Bullet Club associated with them a little bit, so
yeah. So Kenny and Takeshita again, what more can you do there? Kenny and Will Hobbs.
Right? Kenny lost.
Okay.
No, I think Hobbs. It's gonna be Hobbs and somebody against Jericho, and it might be Paul White. I think, from what it seemed like on the Jericho promo.
Yeah, Jericho says he's got a big friend or something.
Yeah.
So what? Takeshita and Hobbs against Jericho?
It might happen.
That'd be pretty sweet. I'd love to see Paul White in AEW. But what about Kenny then for Full Gear? If he's not wrestling in the title match, right? If he just loses or gets a screwy finish or whatever, he doesn't walk away tomorrow night as champion, which I don't think many people are expecting him to win the belt tomorrow, right? I think MJF does hold on to the belt, but what is going on with Kenny Omega for Full Gear? If Jericho is doing the Don Callis thing, where's Kenny?
I think this is a good match for Kenny. Don't know if it'll go in this direction, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'd like to see Kenny against Juice, actually. I think that could be a pretty good match. I know you're not too big on that, but...
Is that pay-per-view, though,
I feel like for Full Gear, yeah, sure. It's not maybe the top match for Full Gear, but it's a match for Full Gear, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that interested in that. I think you should probably do MJF versus Jay White 1-on-1 at Full Gear, but I would not mind seeing Kenny Omega thrown in there and make it a triple threat.
Right. I get you.
You know? There's something there. But MJF versus Kenny Omega tomorrow night on Collision, I'll be tuning in for sure. I have been enjoying Collision. I have been watching Collision every week because they're giving me Bryan Danielson matches. They're giving me a reason to tune in. I watched Collision and Battle of the Belts last week. They started off with Danielson and Andrade right away. It was excellent. Danielson beat Andrade. It was really, really good. And then, other stuff happened. And I was kind of paying attention, but also kind of playing Nintendo, I think. Like, I was doing other things while I was watching Collision. I was not fully invested in Collision, but, I was aware of what was going on. But I'm really paying attention when Bryan Danielson's on the screen, and he is the reason that I'm tuning into that show. He had his match this week, a tag match, an excellent tag match against Orange Cassidy and Okada. And he won't be wrestling on Collision, but instead they've given me MJF defending the world title against Kenny Omega. So AEW has done a very good job in getting me to tune into Collision. But I know they lost you a little bit, right? Like, it's funny, ever since CM Punk left Collision, it's not that I'm not a CM Punk fan, it's just that whatever they were doing with him wasn't intriguing me enough to watch, But now that Danielson is the focal point of Collision, Danielson's my favorite wrestler. He's the best in the world, has been his whole career pretty much. So, I'm a Danielson guy all day, every day. So I'm watching Collision, but it's funny how Punk left and you were watching Collision every week when Punk was there, and I was not really paying attention. I'd watch here and there. And then Punk's gone. Danielson takes over on Collision, so I'm in, and then you're gone because, I don't know, no Punk.
Well, it's not just Punk, it's also FTR. That presence that they have, they don't really have it anymore on Collision. I mean, you kind of see them, but it's not as big as it once was. Like, I don't feel like they're big players anymore in all of AEW. I don't know what's going on, but it feels like they're getting kind of phased out. So them and Punk and just the direction they had with a lot of guys going on, like the fact that they were building up Ricky Starks and Hobbs was getting built on Collision. Now they switched it to Dynamite. So you were seeing guys built up. Miro, like, are they still building Miro? Like, what's going on with him?
He wrestled Action Andretti. Because Action Andretti, Miro's got a weird thing going on. So Lana is in AEW, right? CJ or whatever.
CJ, yeah.
Miro's hot and flexible wife, who they keep referring to as hot and flexible, on her entrance video, it says hot and flexible, which I think is a really good gimmick for her. So she wants to be a manager in AEW. Miro doesn't want her to manage him because she takes away the spotlight or whatever. He has renounced her for some reason. And so she is entertaining other wrestlers to be the manager, And then Action Andretti's like, I'd like you to be my manager. And she's like, oh, well, okay, maybe I'll check you out and let me watch you wrestle and we'll see. And then Miro has taking it upon himself to destroy any wrestler that Lana could possibly manage. So any wrestler that's, Lana has her sights on, he is going to destroy so she can't be a manager. And the crowd is cheering for Miro doing this.
Okay.
Which seems weird because Miro is like an overbearing husband, not allowing his wife to work in the job that she wants to have. Yet he's the good guy. It's odd. But he wrestled Action Andretti, who wanted Lana as his manager, and he beat Action Andretti on Collision. So I guess Action Andretti didn't pass the test. And Lana seems kind of happy when Miro's beating up Andretti because she still loves her husband, and I think she wants to manage him. He just doesn't want her in his corner. But she still is kind of managing him because Miro's whole story is wrestling guys that Lana would potentially manage. So she's always in the corner for his matches, and she's more with him than with this random new wrestler, Andretti. She doesn't know Andretti, you know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, it's frankly odd. I like that Lana is there. She's a star. She's a good character. But
yeah,
the whole thing, it's like, okay, I was watching it on Collision. That was one of the things on Collision that was more memorable. Just the booking of Miro and Lana and the crowd cheering for Miro. And I'm like, isn't he the bad guy here? But apparently not.
Well, I think fans don't really like Lana because she's kind of full of herself a bit, saying how she thinks she could be like the Paul Heyman of managers, like in AEW. And
did she say this on TV? Where did she say this?
She said this somewhere in some interview or something. Okay. It was pretty popular. I saw a bunch of things.
People didn't like that? I never heard this. I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay. Well, that's it. I just feel that people like Miro a lot. That's it. The main thing. And Lana looks good and they'll react to her, but they still love Miro.
She looks good and she's flexible. Don't forget.
But there's no real reason to boo him. He just doesn't water around. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's odd. But Miro's on Collision, so that was fun. And Andrade wrestled Bryan Danielson. So
seems a little complicated.
Yeah, it was complicated. And Battle of the Belts happened, Stuff happened. There was a lot of, it ended with just kind of everybody fighting everybody. There was a bunch of people. Blackpool Combat Club was feuding with the House of Black. And House of Black was, kicking everybody's ass. Aleister Black kicked Bryan Danielson in the face after his match with Andrade. Something's going on there. I think we'll see House of Black versus Blackpool Combat Club at some point. But there's more guys involved. It was a whole thing. Big melee.
Okay.
Big melee.
Well, I thought Blackpool Combat Club had a good main event. It was a good match. I just thought the ending kind of really sucked a lot. I was like, you had a good show, and for the show to end like that was very poor. I don't know who booked that, but that was just a very crappy ending to a very good show.
What happened?
It's just Danielson's hurt after the match, right?
Yeah.
I guess he got a kick in the eye or something, or
he got hit in the face. He took a orange punch and a rainmaker.
Okay. And he was selling that, and he was just hurt, and Claudio was mouthing off to Okada, and Okada was kind of taunting Danielson about his arm and now his face, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just all standing around, nothing's happening, and then credits, that's it. And the crowd is just stunned, nothing's going on. It's just kind of, all right, well, that's it. Good night.
I liked it.
Wasn't the best way to end it.
I liked the finish because it was Okada was taunting Danielson. He's like, you may have beat me, but I broke your arm in that match. You may have beat me in the match, but your arm, and now look, you beat me again in this tag team match, but look at your face. He was saying your arm and now your face. You may beat me, but I take a piece of you every time, Bryan Danielson. And I thought that the taunting from Okada was really good because it opened my eyes to, Okada and Danielson have a thing going on. There's a feud and there's another match here down the road. Okada's not done. Okada wants revenge. So I like that. And I think we might even set up Okada versus Claudio at some point, which is kind of cool. I'd like to see that match too. So I like the post-match stuff, and I didn't feel like it ended flat. They were kind of standing and staring at each other, but I thought that they were doing that to set things up down the road. I liked it. I thought the match was great too. Goddamn Kazuchika Okada wrestling for the first time on AEW Dynamite. Come on. The Rainmaker? Are you kidding me? The talent in that ring? Ridiculous. You got Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, Orange Cassidy, and Kazuchika Okada? What? Like, that's crazy that we just got that on TV on Dynamite this week. Ridiculous. Legends of the Ring.
Yeah, no problem with a great match.
Amazing.
No problem with the match. But like you have that kind of match and that kind of ending, it's like, did you just run out of ideas or something? Like the taunting's not enough just to end like that. Like there should have been at least maybe a pull apart or something, or hit music, like some sort of end to the show, not just like awkwardness. It just wasn't the best way to end the show, I thought.
I liked it. I really liked it. I liked all the crews coming out, too. You got Wheeler, you got Moxley coming out. They're all kind of watching out for Danielson. And then you got the Best Friends coming out. And even Chris Statlander was out there. And they had somebody else, too, with them, the Best Friends.
Hook.
Yeah, Hook was there, too. And he was kind of getting into it with Wheeler.
Makes it more weird.
No, I thought that was good. You pair them up. I didn't know Hook and Wheeler had a thing going on. I liked that. I didn't know like any of this was going on. Like you're seeing different guys face off, and it's like, hey, it sets things up for the future. They don't need to have a big brawl all the time. Too many pull aparts in wrestling. Just kind of look at each other, stare each other down. I liked it, John. I thought it was a good finish to Dynamite. And after that main event with all that action in the match, like I don't think you needed more. I was satisfied. I thought the finish was good, too. Claudio with a big uppercut on Orange for the pin. Very good. Because Claudio's going to wrestle Orange for the international title next week on Dynamite, so you have Claudio beat Orange here this week. Makes you wonder if he's going to beat him next week, which he probably won't. But solid. John didn't like it. Okay. How about Hikaru Shida and Ruby Soho? I didn't like this. This was awful.
The best match.
This was
not
terrible.
the best.
What? It was so bad in so many ways.
Lack chemistry.
God,
obviously, some sort of communication problem in certain moments. It seemed like. I felt like at some point they got back on track, and then I don't know what the heck happened there on that finish. That finish was weird as hell. I don't know whoever booked the match, they botched that big time.
So if you didn't see it, first of all, Shida hit like a terrible crossbody at one point that just kind of, even the commentary was like, it didn't really hit all of that. It was weird. Ruby looked.
Communication.
Yeah. And then at one point, Shida ran into the ropes, bounced off the ropes, and walked into a move that Ruby hit her with. You're supposed to come off the ropes with more speed than you hit them with. But she ran faster into the ropes than she came off of them. She came off the ropes walking. And again, you saw that sign that said Shida is the best around. I'm like, who are you marks that really think Shida is the best? What is going on? I'm watching Shida wrestle, and I'm trying to pay attention, and goddamn, I'm trying to like her. But she's not that great in the ring. She's okay. She's not that great. And for her to be a 3-time champion, for her to have zero personality, zero promo, zero character, and for her to be pushed as the top woman in this division with that level of match is insulting. Because I've seen much better talent come and go through that AEW women's division, and the fact that I have to sit here and act like Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Saraya, and a bunch of others don't exist, while I have to sit here and watch Hikaru Shida and act like it's not offensive. Come on. It's enough. It's enough. She's not very good. And this match was horrible. And the goddamn psychology of it was all messed up. So it's a title match. And Ruby Soho should know better. I don't know what she's doing. She's not innocent in all of this. Ruby Soho gets a spray paint can. So first she undoes the turnbuckle. So Ref Aubrey gets distracted by the buckle, and she takes the turnbuckle pad from one side of the ring all the way to the other corner for no reason in particular. Right? Why she go all the way there to toss the buckle? What's the point? So she goes across the ring to do this. While she does it, Ruby gets plenty of time, grabs the spray paint can. Instead of spraying Shida in the eyes, she throws the spray paint can so that Shida catches it. And then Ruby falls down, acting like, oh no, she sprayed me in the eyes. The old Eddie Guerrero trick, except when Eddie Guerrero did it, it made sense. Ruby Soho does it, and it's like, okay, but if she gets disqualified, you don't win the championship. This is a title match, and you're not the champion, Ruby Soho. It's overdone, first of all. People are overdoing that Eddie Guerrero spot. Second of all, maybe do it when it makes sense to do it. Instead of, just because it's a fun spot, let's do it in the match, guys. The crowd is going to love it, guys. It's so fun. So fun. Fuck off. It's fucking stupid.
Well, it's because they needed another distraction for what was going to happen next.
Yeah. So then the ref takes a spray paint can from Shida, and then, no, she doesn't. The ref just goes, oh, right? Because that's what she does. Fucking. So bad. I fucking hated this so much. I was watching this. I was like, ah.
It wasn't good.
I was like, what the fuck is it? So then the ref goes, what are you doing? And then Ruby just goes and grabs the title belts from outside the ring, grabs the women's title, and goes to hit Shida with it. But she's stopped by the spray that Shida sprays the belt. She blocks the strike with spray paint, which makes no sense. And then Ruby face planted eventually in the exposed buckle and lost the match. And then Toni Storm came out afterwards and posed for a while, which was kind of weird.
You're skipping stuff. There's more.
After that, I was like, all right. I couldn't watch anymore. I hated it so much.
Okay.
What happened? What else? What else do we have to talk about this garbage match? I wish Shida wasn't champion. They have better women on their roster. Why do they keep pushing Shida? It's not about how bad this match was. It's about why is she still this person that's pushed? Whatever happened to Riho? Like, I don't get it. What is going on in their women's division and their booking of it? It is the most puzzling thing in AEW, and one day the real story will come out, and I'm worried about what that story is, quite frankly. Because it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
I feel Tony's going to win the title at Full Gear. I think they realize
her gimmick is so stupid. It's so
but it's over though.
Yeah. Like, well, she's the best thing they have. For sure.
She should have won the title from Saraya. That's what should have happened. I don't know why we went down this convoluted path to get to this, but whatever. They'll right the wrong.
It was just so awful. But yeah, hopefully Toni Storm is the champion next because she's great. I like Toni Storm. I don't love this gimmick. I think there are parts of it that are working and other parts that are just not.
Who's the bald guy?
No idea.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
No idea. She had a bald guy come out with her. I don't know who he was. No clue. How about the Nature Boy Ric Flair? So Sting and Darby Allin are in the ring, and Sting is thanking Philadelphia and Darby Allin, and he says Darby is the greatest tag team partner he's ever had.
This was the best part was when Sting was like, "Oh, I got a whoa from the crowd."
Yeah. Well, who would be better? Lex Luger? Ultimate Warrior?
Big Show too.
In WCW?
They were tag champs together, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd say Darby's pretty good. And then Tony Schiavone says, Sting, we have a special gift for you. Tony Khan has a special gift for you, and it's Ric Flair. He's the gift. It's a human gift. That's what billionaires give to people, humans. Tony Khan has a gift for you. What is it? Is it like a car or a nice watch? No, it's Ric Flair, the man. Here you go. He's yours now, Sting. Woo! What?
Well, for the rest of his AEW career, it seems like it, yeah.
Yeah, but I like that he's presented as a gift. It's like billionaires give humans as gifts. You've won a man. Congratulations. You could kill him if you want to. Do whatever you want with him. He's yours. You own him now. Legal documents. Flair signed over his life to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan gave him as a gift to Sting. When Sting retires, he keeps Ric Flair. He's got to take care of him now. It's like a pet. He owns Ric Flair. Like, that's the thing with giving a person, you got to take care of it afterwards. And Ric Flair, there's a lot of maintenance in owning a Ric Flair. A lot of maintenance. You got to make sure he's not drunk all the time, or I guess you have to make sure he is drunk all the time. I'm not really sure. I've never owned a Ric Flair. But I assume you got to make sure his clothes are on at all times, which can be a challenge, from what I understand. But Sting owns him now, so that's nice.
I'll just admit this. I did not see this coming.
Me neither.
Didn't see Flair coming to AEW at this point. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, to be honest. I'm surprised, and I definitely thought he was going to stay in WWE and help Charlotte kind of push that kind of whole her going for the record, beating the record. Now I wonder about that. I mean, I think they're still going to do it, but would they be more hesitant about it now because they won't have Flair around?
Yep. And Flair says he's sticking around in AEW. He says he wants to ride with Sting until March when he retires, and Sting's like, okay. So I guess Ric Flair is Sting's manager until he's done, which is kind of fun.
Or
Nature Boy. Nature Boy in AEW. Why not? I loved it. I mean, Flair was fired up, and Sting looked legitimately surprised, right? Sting didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think he knew.
That's crazy.
I think Schiavone knew, but that was about it.
Yeah. I liked it. I loved Sting's reaction, Flair's reaction. Flair was loving it. Sting wanted a chop from Flair. Flair chopped him. That was great. That was great.
He bounced off the ropes.
Yeah. I love seeing Flair get fired up. So that was beautiful to see. Sting and the Nature Boy back together again on TBS with Tony Schiavone in a ring. It was cool. Must be weird for Darby Allin. Just to be the other guy in the ring when all that's happening, It's got to be cool. I'm happy Darby gets that kind of stuff.
They were doing this.
Huh?
He wasn't even born when they were first doing this.
Right. But, I mean, I'm sure he recognizes the moment that he's a part of, right? So it's cool.
Well, he looks up to Sting, and, I'm sure he appreciates what Flair's done.
Yeah. And Darby's the kind of wrestler that I'm happy is getting this because he's just so talented and he's got such a bright future. So very cool for Darby to be in the ring when all this happens. And then, of course, Christian comes out with Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. And he just cuts a scathing promo. He says, Tony Khan is a billionaire, and this is the gift you give Sting for his retirement. A suit, some gold chains, and a black liver. And he went on. He says, Flair's looks like Weekend at Bernie's. But no. He knows Flair isn't dead. And he also knows that there's no God because if there was, Flair would have been dead 20 years ago. And just...
That is so rough. Wow.
Christian is my favorite thing in all of wrestling. There's nobody better than Christian right now. Nobody. He is the best thing going in all of wrestling today. Nobody better. Every time Christian comes out, I go, oh, shit, what's this guy going to say now? He's on a warpath. He's tremendous.
He might be Wrestler of the Year.
Oh, he's so good. He is Wrestler of the Year. He is. His matches have been tremendous. His promos are the best in the business. Every time Christian comes out, I go, oh, my God, what's it going to be now? What's he going to say next? The fact that he made his catchphrase, I understand you have a father, and I understand your father is dead. And he said that to multiple dudes whose fathers were shoot dead. Actually dead. And he's just saying this in promos. He's evil, and I love it. Ric Flair, I know you're not dead, and I know that there's no God, because if there was a God, you would have been dead 20 years ago. And Flair's just standing there like, he's taking it.
Did you see Flair's response? He tweeted a response about that.
Did he?
Saying that you can keep running your mouth, like eventually you're going to have to pay for it.
The Stinger's going to get you. What?
Oh, he didn't say that so much. I think he said like he might have to actually shut him up.
Well, good luck to you there,
So,
Nature Boy.
I mean, Christian kind of alluded to that too. He said like challenged him to a 6-man, and you have Flair there.
Yes. So Christian wants a 6-man match. Sting accepted. It is Christian, Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus versus Sting, Darby, and Edge says he doesn't want to wrestle Christian. Edge cut an awesome promo on Collision. Did you see that?
With Sting was great, yeah.
No, that was on Dynamite.
Oh, I didn't see it on Collision, no.
Edge did a sit-down promo with Renee, kind of in response to Christian's promo on Dynamite. Very good stuff from Edge. Like, very good. That was on Collision, right? That wasn't on Dynamite last week. The Edge sit-down promo?
I feel like it was on Dynamite last week.
Was it on
actually.
Dynamite last week? Okay. Maybe, I don't know. There's so many AEW shows, it's hard to tell. But I feel like Edge did a promo this week on Collision, too. But anyways, Edge doesn't want to wrestle Christian, right? He says he doesn't want to wrestle him.
Right.
He's his friend, and he's going to be there for him when his buddies drop him, and he'll pick up the pieces, and then they'll be a tag team. Edge wants to team with Christian. He understands why Christian doesn't want to team with him, but he doesn't want to fight him. But Sting gets really fired up backstage with Edge and says, come on! You got to fight Christian! You got to team up with us! What's your problem, man? And Edge is like, He didn't really respond. But I think it'll probably be Edge, right? Darby, Sting, Edge versus Christian, Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne. Seems like the match. Full gear.
Sounds about right, yeah. I think we kind of said it a while back that it was going to happen. It's finally coming together.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I'm good with it.
I'm good with it, yeah.
With Ric Flair in the corner, too. I mean, it's even more fun.
He might cost him the match.
Can Tony Khan give Sting more humans on this road to retirement? Can he give him Hulk Hogan? Can he give him Lex Luger? Give him more people.
Well, Luger's in a wheelchair, so I don't know if you really want to give him Luger right now.
Wheel him out there. Who cares?
Hogan's not going to happen. The fans don't like Hogan, so it will not happen.
Yeah, no, the fans don't like Hogan.
Flair's forgiven. Hogan is not forgiven.
Yeah, I know, which is so weird. So weird. Because honestly, like, I've heard a lot of wrestlers talk about Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, and I've heard more wrestlers say Ric Flair has said some pretty racist things to them, and I haven't really heard it about Hulk Hogan.
Right.
You know? Like, the words mean something, but the actions mean something too. And I feel like Flair's actions in the past, I don't know. It just surprises me that the wrestling fans choose Flair over Hogan. Plus, Hogan was so tan, brother. I mean, at one point, like, I've seen Hogan in the ring with black wrestlers, and Hogan was darker. And it's like, Hogan's tan was beyond a tan. I don't even know how he got to that level. What a man.
I think the whole, like, his exaggerated stories now, I feel that kind of hurts him a little bit too now. The fact that everything he says, it just sounds like it's one big fabrication.
Yeah. Everything Flair says sounds like it's one big,
well,
I don't know.
If you notice Flair, like, the way he started his promo, it sounded like a motivation kind of speech.
Yeah.
It feels like he's doing that kind of thing. So it feels like when Flair talks now, you can kind of see how grateful he is ever since, like, he almost died.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if people realize that more, like, they almost lost Ric Flair, so you need to appreciate him more now. Where with Hogan, he never really had that kind of experience.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I like them both. I like Ric Flair. I like Hulk Hogan. I think they're both great legends of wrestling. Speaking of legends, MJF, world champion, beats Juice Robinson to retain the Dynamite Diamond Ring. The match was all right. A little bit of, referee confusion. The referee saw MJF use the scarf to choke Juice and didn't really do anything about it. Could have been a disqualification there.
The ref
eventually
was
the ass
the guys
boys
out of the ring.
Sorry, what?
The ref was kicking the ass boys out of the ring. Like, did you see that? Like,
yeah,
like actually kicking them. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah. MJF won. Juice tried to use the fake ring, but MJF ducked the punch and used the real diamond ring to punch Juice and then punch the ass boys off the apron and then hit his heat seeker pile driver for the win. And then the ass boys, Juice and Jay White, jumped MJF after the match. Roderick Strong, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett came out to help MJF because they want to be friends with MJF now, right?
I think the Acclaim came out first.
No. They came out after.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they came out after because I thought MJF was doing the promo and then you heard him say, "Nah."
I didn't hear
maybe
that.
They were already there when he said it. Okay.
No.
But either way, the Acclaim saved him, not Taven and Bennett.
Strong, Taven, and Bennett tried to make the save, but they got taken out by Bullet Club.
Right.
And then the Acclaimed came out, and then they took out the Bullet Club. And, well, they just kind of bailed, right? The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass came out, and the Bullet Club, just escaped the ring. And then Jay White started doing a promo about beating MJF at Full Gear. And then the Ass Boys challenged MJF to a 2-on-1 Ring of Honor Tag Team title match at Full Gear. So I guess MJF is going to be wrestling twice again at Full Gear in a 2-on-1 against the Ass Boys, and then in the main event against Jay White. And then MJF says, okay, and then he made a challenge for an 8-man tag match next week. And Roderick Strong wants MJF to pick him to be his partners. And MJF is like, no, you're a bland bitch. I don't like you. He doesn't want Roderick Strong and his boys for his partners. And then Max Caster and the Acclaimed wants to know if MJF is going to pick them. And MJF says he would never tag with them. So MJF not wanting those guys with him. And then he walked away. And then Kenny Omega came out on the stage, and then he wanted a title match with MJF at Collision, and then MJF accepted, and they make the match. Then later on, MJF is getting checked on by the doctor, and Samoa Joe shows up, and he's like, I'll watch your back as long as you give me an AEW title rematch down the road. And MJF seems happy with this arrangement, so I guess Samoa Joe is with MJF now, and he's going to be part of Team MJF versus Team Bullet Club Gold in a match at some point. Maybe Kenny Omega will be part of this team too. Is MJF assembling some sort of dream team? I don't get it. He needs 3 guys.
Well, what might happen is MJF might have his future contenders for his title teaming with him against the Bullet Club. I can see that going down.
So Kenny, Joe, and
Wardlow?
Oh, yeah, Wardlow. Wardlow's cutting promos about MJF. He wants revenge, right? He wants a match. That does make sense. That those 3 would be the guys. Because everybody does seem to be going up, trying to come after MJF, right? Kenny, Joe, Wardlow. And if Joe is already aligning with MJF, it would make sense that Kenny and Wardlow would join the team too. So that, and MJF could promise them a future title match or whatever. Not bad.
I think that's going to go down, yeah.
Yeah.
But we still have a couple weeks. It might not happen next week because we still have a couple weeks for Full Gear.
Yeah.
Because Full Gear is not next Saturday. I think it's in 3 weeks, no?
Yeah. It's 3 weeks from tomorrow. The 18th.
Okay.
I believe. The 18th? No. Does that make sense? The 18th of November. AEW Full Gear. It'll be on a Saturday. Yep. In Los Angeles. Speaking of pay-per-views, AEW announcing a new pay-per-view. World's End. Set to take place December 30th on Long Island in New York. First New York pay-per-view for AEW. And Long Island, New York. December 30th, 2023. A couple days before the 1st of 2024.
Right.
The bidding war of 2024 for MJF that he has talked about before. Pay-per-view called World's End on Long Island, where MJF is from. He's the world champion. I mean, I feel like they're going to do something big with MJF on that show. And at this point, I feel like since they announced it, there's no chance MJF loses the belt until that night. And on that night, he may lose it, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he goes into that saying, like, this could be it for me in AEW, and he's the world champion going into it. Does he hold on to the belt and leave AEW as champion, or does he, drop the belt and leave AEW, or does he hold the belt and stay in AEW? Like, they could do a lot of that story going into it. In his hometown, too, it's going to be pretty nuts. If they can get Adam Cole back, although I think he had surgery. I feel like Adam Cole would be the match for that show, but
yeah, I don't know.
Probably somebody else. Maybe a 4-way. Joe, Kenny, Wardlow, MJF. You stack the deck. You go, this is the world's end. This is it. MJF is screwed. He's got no chance after this. Kenny, Joe, Wardlow, one of these guys is going to take the belt from him in a 4-way. I think you could set that up. I mean, it's December 30th, right? I mean, we're talking about a Full Gear, his next defense against Jay White, November 18th. It's only a month that you have to set up that pay-per-view, build it up. I think that's a pretty good match, too. Kenny, Joe, Wardlow, MJF, Fatal 4-Way, Long Island for the belt. Maybe MJF's last match in AEW.
It's good, but I think there's a better match to do. And the match that they're really building up towards is whoever the guy in the mask is.
Oh, yeah, the devil.
I think. Right.
The devil mask, yeah. Any chance it's CM Punk?
See, I see a lot of people say that, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
you're out of your mind.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah, I see
I didn't
that a
know.
lot.
I didn't know other people were saying that. I just thought, like, wouldn't it be fun if maybe the firing was all a big work and because CM
Yeah,
Punk,
they fired him right
I know.
before the pay-per-view in Chicago.
I know. It doesn't make sense, but the biggest trick the devil pulled was convincing you he didn't exist. CM Punk has said that time and time again, and he has convinced us that he doesn't exist in AEW.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
It's too
I'm just
good.
saying it'd be pretty good. It'd be pretty good.
It would be fantastic.
If he came out, he'd be like, ha ha ha. Fuck you. You thought I was gone. I'm actually here. MJF, I'm coming for you. We want all the gold, sucker. MJF, I'm coming for you.
It would be the best thing AEW has ever done if that would happen, but I don't think they did that. That's way too much.
It'd be so good.
That'd be insane. That'd be insane if that happened, but I don't think that's what happened.
Isn't that the kind of thing they should be doing, though? Like, angles that would blow the wrestling world apart. You know what I mean? Angles that you go, what? They just what? You know, like, it'd be pretty good. They worked everybody.
Well,
you know, if they could pull it off, if that's what they've done. I agree with you. I don't think that's what they've done. But again, like, I look at who is the devil, who could it be, what could they pull off, and I go,
AJ.
right there, yeah, but there's not much there. You know what I'm saying? Like, who could it be? Adam Cole, Britt Baker, like,
yeah,
CM Punk would be pretty damn good. You know, it'd be good.
It'd be amazing. It would change a lot in AEW. It would change the course of AEW right now.
Yeah,
but that's it. I mean, to have that kind of idea, like, wow, it's too incredible. You know what? Maybe it's Jack Perry.
We haven't seen him since either. And he apparently didn't get fired, right?
Right.
That would suck, though.
I would be disappointed, but
yeah,
they would have a spin on it to make it, you know, work for them, what kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. I think people would be like, oh, Jungle Boy.
I found it interesting that so many people have, like, Punk, like, if Punk's in AEW, this is how it should be. If Punk's in TNA, this is how it should be. Punk's in WWE, this is how it should be. Like, clearly, he's like the hottest free agent in all of wrestling right now because, like, he fits in so many places.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I feel like WWE, it makes the most sense. TNA needs him the most, I think, because that would get people to really watch TNA.
Yeah.
And AEW, I mean, the story works, but it's just I don't think the environment works, sadly.
Because, like, Impact Wrestling, switching their name back to TNA Wrestling, like, I think it's a good idea because I think...
Like, we always call it TNA anyways.
I still call it TNA, right? Like, I still call it TNA. I still think of it as TNA Wrestling. And I feel like, you know, it's TNA Impact. It's NWA TNA. I don't know. It's like, it feels like that's what it should be called. So, yeah, it makes sense, but it doesn't make me want to tune into it anymore. Although I heard Will Ospreay and Mike Bailey was, like, incredible, and I do want to watch that. I just haven't seen it. But I heard it was very good. That's another thing. Did you see it? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, I'm not surprised that was a great match. I mean, they're both wrestlers, so not surprising.
Yeah. When I saw they were wrestling each other, I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome. I'm not. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, they're great.
But the whole thing about Ospreay now, it's like, oh, Ospreay could work in TNA. Ospreay could work in AEW, in WWE. I feel like he kind of has to go to AEW because, like, why did you push him so hard in AEW? Have him beat Chris Jericho on, like, your biggest show ever.
Yeah.
And him not to sign, like, wow, that would be a huge slap in the face to AEW if he doesn't sign. But, I mean, if WWE gives him the money, why not?
He should take it. He should take it. Most people get into wrestling to try WWE. And even if you don't, you know, they're the biggest ones out there. if you got the shot to do it and if they want to pay you what you're worth. Like if WWE offers Will Ospreay more money than any other company, he should go to WWE. I think that's
the only thing, though.
That's the move.
He might take
because the ceiling of money too is way higher in WWE. Like you could make good money in AEW, but the potential earnings in WWE are way more than any other wrestling company by far.
But if he's more concerned about his freedom, and if he wants to go back to like the UK every now and then,
yeah,
definitely a lot easier to do not in WWE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
there's a reason why people choose AEW over WWE. But there's a reason why people go to WWE as well. You know, it just depends what Will Ospreay is looking for his wrestling career. RVD and Hook got a match. They beat John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Always nice to see RVD on television in Philadelphia, so that was cool. Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show, Johnny North. And I liked Young Bucks and Hangman over the Hardys and Brother Zay. That was a good match. Hardy's looking good in that one. No?
Really?
I thought they looked all right.
I didn't find they looked that good, to be honest. Like
Matt
the finish
looked good.
Was somewhat okay. Did Jeff really do much in that match?
No.
I felt Jeff was on the apron practically the
Jeff
whole match.
Didn't seem to do very much. Matt Hardy looked good, I think. I don't know. I thought he looked pretty good, Matt Hardy. I just liked seeing the Hardys in the ring against the Young Bucks. Jeff did a little bit, but not very much. They did a cool spot where they hit a move on Zay, and then they jumped off of Zay to do a dive, or no, they hit a move on Matt. I think Jeff Hardy did a move on Matt Jackson, and he held his head, and then Zay jumped off Matt Jackson.
Zay jumped off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool, but I felt a lot of the spots were kind of just way too choreographed to the point where it's like this would never happen if you didn't have 100% cooperation, and knew exactly how things were going to work out. It was just way too planned, the whole spots. And maybe it's because Jeff's not used to doing matches like that. I don't know, but it felt way too fake. A lot of spots. And I felt Hangman Hangman didn't really do much either in that match.
No, he wasn't really involved. His thing was after the match where Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana appeared on the big screen, and they're at Hangman's home that they just walk into, and they're walking around the kitchen, and they're looking at Hangman's fridge, and there's artwork from Hangman's kid, and he rips it. And then they hear a noise, and they go, "Oh, what's that?" And then they go into a room, and Swerve is sitting over a crib. You don't see a child in there, but you understand that Hangman's child is in the crib. But like you said earlier, John, where are the adults in this home? Why is this child being left unattended? And so Swerve is Hangman, he cost me a title shot, and I told you, Hangman, your family is going to pay your debt, or you don't necessarily pay your debts. It's going to be someone else you know and love, and maybe this kid is going to pay the debt. And he kind of threatened to hurt Hangman's child. I thought it was a bit much. I didn't love it, And then he put a T-shirt, one of his T-shirts on the kid as a reminder. And then Prince Nana was uncomfortable with it, and he's like, "Come on, boss, let's go. We have to leave." So Swerve and Hangman still have a thing going. Swerve definitely seemed evil in this thing, but it seemed to go too far. You're breaking and entering, you're threatening the life of a child on national television. Wouldn't you just be arrested? It doesn't. It seems like it goes past wrestling sometimes.
Or eventually,
huh?
I would think eventually, you just committed a crime, and clearly, you should get arrested at some point.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense if you're not. Like, how do you explain that in the story if you're never arrested? I don't get it.
No. It didn't make a ton of sense. But, like, can't Hangman call the cops and have the cops show up at his house? And then what happens to Swerve?
That's what he should have done.
Swerve probably gets shot. Swerve dies. Swerve got killed by some police tonight at outside Hangman Page's home. Unfortunate incident. It was a wrestling prank gone wrong. Rest in peace, Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. They're dead. Because the cop shot him, which happens. It happens. Especially wherever Hangman lives, right? He's like North Carolina or Virginia or something. You call
Virginia.
the cops. You call the
West
cops
Virginia.
on a couple black guys breaking into a home, threatening a baby. I think the cops probably kill them. I mean, that's usually, So, dangerous moves from Swerve. He's not scared. He's not scared. He's not getting murdered by police. Like, what's Hangman doing when he runs backstage? Is he calling somebody? Is he trying to run back to Virginia? Like, I don't... Anyways, we didn't hear from Hangman after that, There's no update on Hangman, like saying, oh, my kid's all right. Swerve's gone. I spoke to my wife. It's all fine. No update. Just like, is Swerve and Nana still in Hangman's house? Have they apprehended his baby? Don't know. I guess they left peacefully. It's just odd. An odd promo, odd behavior. But this is part of, like, Swerve's act, right? Like, him and Prince Nana almost killed that Nick Wayne kid, right? They went to his house and, like, tried to kill him. He was bleeding profusely. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, that was very violent.
Yeah.
And shocking.
Well, that's what Swerve is trying to do. He's trying to shock us. I was shocked by the attempted baby attack. Yeah. All right, John. I'm good. Shout out to AJ. Shout out Jimmy James.
We've missed one. There's still one big thing to talk about.
What? Oh, there isn't. I've done it all. I'm done.
Now, well, I think you and AJ are going to want to talk about this. If you haven't already talked about it last night, the fact that Ronda Rousey came back to wrestling.
She did?
She wrestled last night, yeah.
She did? She wrestled last night? On an indie show, right?
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she teamed up with Marina Shafir against Taya Valkyrie and Brian Kendrick. I believe it was like an indie show in LA, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken on the location, but
isn't Brian Kendrick like a Holocaust denier? Wasn't that a thing?
Flat Earth and all that kind of stuff.
But didn't he like deny the Holocaust, and that's why he was like uninvited to AEW? He was like supposed to debut, and then they're like, no. You can't go denying Holocaust. That's not good. People don't like that. I thought
he was working with WWE again, but
I don't know. So Ronda wrestled. She teamed with Marina Shafir at Lucha Vavoom last night in Los Angeles. Okay. I mean, is that a big story? Ronda worked a match with her friend.
With her friend who's in AEW.
Okay.
And against someone who was in AEW. And there's a pay-per-view in LA coming up soon. I don't know. Like, I could see it happen.
That'd be pretty good. That would make their women's division way better. So, yeah, I hope she goes to AEW. I don't think her WWE run really worked, especially the last run. I think AEW might appreciate her more. They might present her differently. Better.
Well, you had her going back to the UFC, right? But it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen, or there's no talks of that. Like Dana wasn't
Well,
really talking about that, right?
no.
Dana kind of like shut that down. So,
Yeah. Although he did say that he spoke to Ronda like this week.
okay.
Dana said he spoke to Ronda. I saw Dana do a press conference this week, and he's like, yeah, I spoke to Ronda today. And he's like, Ronda's doing her family thing. She's doing the farm thing. She's not really looking to do anything else. But, you know, if you're looking to keep a surprise, that's what you would say as a promoter. But also, why are you talking to Ronda Rousey? Just checking in? Just to say hi? Yeah, right. I think it's weird that the UFC hasn't had a bantamweight champion or a featherweight champion since June
Wow, that
or
long.
July. Wait, when did June 10th?
When did Amanda retire?
June 10th.
It's a long time. Wow.
Amanda Nunes, UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, retired in June. She retired as the 135-pound and 145-pound champion. And the UFC hasn't said a word about crowning a new champion in either division, which makes me think they got a plan, and it involves a Ronda Rousey. Because why wouldn't they just make a new champion? Why wouldn't they just put the number one contender and the number two contender in a match and have them fight, and the winner is the champion? Why wouldn't they do that? Because they have other plans. Why is Dana White talking to Ronda Rousey this week? He's talking to Ronda Rousey, and they still don't have a bantamweight champion?
Yeah.
Like, I could see them giving up the featherweight champion because they don't really have a 145-pound division. But 135-pound division, they've got fighters in that division ready to fight, ready to challenge for a belt. However, they haven't announced anything. No Juliana Pena, no Irene Aldana, no nothing, no nobody, no nothing. Why? Since June. So, yeah, I think maybe Ronda's in the picture. Because, like, what are they doing with the belt? AJ hopes I'm right. But AJ, like, I know I just blew AJ's mind because AJ wasn't thinking about the Women's Bantamweight Championship, and most people in MMA aren't really thinking about the Women's Bantamweight Championship, but it should be a bigger deal that we had a champion retire with 2 belts. She killed off 2 divisions in June, and the promotion hasn't made any plans to create new championships, new champions, whatever. Nothing. It's weird. June now? You know? We're almost in November. And the UFC hasn't said a single word about a new bantamweight champion. Like I said, featherweight championship, scrap it, whatever. You could make a new bantamweight champion. There are women's bantamweights in the UFC. But they're not doing anything. Suspicious. It's very suspicious. Because they're going to do it at some point. You just wonder, like, when and what are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? UFC 300? Ronda Rousey? You know, what are they waiting for? So, I don't know. But yeah, Ronda says she's not retired from wrestling with Marina Shafir. That would be amazing for Ronda to show up in AEW and wrestle there. I would love to see Ronda wrestle there. I would love to see Sasha Banks wrestle in AEW too. Where is she? You know, I'd like to see her in AEW or in WWE. But yeah, she was hurt, right?
Yep.
So hopefully we see them both wrestling soon because they're both very good. But yeah, Ronda coming back would be fun. I saw something about Ronda wrestling or being at an indie show. I didn't realize she actually had a match yesterday. So she's not under contract with WWE at all. Right?
Nope.
Yep. She lives in the Los Angeles area. AEW's next pay-per-view is in LA.
Wait and see.
Interesting. All right. Any other big stories you want to break for me, John, while I try to wrap up the show, or could we go now?
No. We're good. We had enough craziness in wrestling this week. We're good for now.
Perfect. Thank you. Johnny allows me to end the show, and yes, I thank him, and I thank you all for watching tonight here on the Ringside Report Network. Shout out to all the members. I saw my man Angelo Contagonis, Jason Pete. Thank you guys for supporting the Ringside Report Network over at join.ringsidereport.net, join.ringsidereport.net, or membership.ringsidereport.net, membership.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for supporting the channel. Happy Halloween. And we'll be back tomorrow afternoon for Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou. God damn, pal. Fun never stops.
Never ends.
Yeah. Tomorrow afternoon, big boxing match. We'll be on here around 5:30 Eastern Time. Tomorrow evening, afternoon, we'll watch the Fury and Ngannou fight with you. We're not going to watch the rest of the boxing card because who cares? I'm here to watch Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou. That's the big fight that people are tuning in for, and we will watch it with you live watch along for the big heavyweight boxing match. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, tomorrow afternoon, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time.